Sri Gurubhyo Namaha children, welcome to online class. Today's class in climate and adaptation, we are going to learn about the adaptation. So, how the birds and animals can adapt the various climates. Now, last class we learned about the climate and the weather, the factors of weather, which one causes, why the climate is going to be different from one place to another, that we learned last class. Now, in this class, how the birds and animals can adopt the climate, the various or the different climates. We people, the human being, all can adopt easily by wearing different types of clothes, and the shelter, we are changing the shelter, like that we can able to adapt. But in nature habitat, the birds and animals, how they can adopt their climate. So, some of them have some of the area have extreme hot climate and some of the area have extreme cold climate. By this, how the animals and birds are adopt their climates and adopt their habitat. Now, we are going to learn in this lesson about adaptation. Now, see that the adaptation of an animal of different climate. So, what is meant by adaptation? So, the animal have special character. The animal have special characteristics that helps themselves to exist in different or the particular climate. So, the animal itself have their own ability to exist in their own climate, and they have a special characteristics. They have a special characteristics called adaptation. So, every animal, they all have a special characteristics that helps to exist the climate or the environment. Now, what is meant by adaptation? What is meant by adaptation? Adaptation can be defined as the structural and behavioral. The structural and the behavioral change in an animal that helps it to survive. Helps it to survive in its environment. So, the structural and the behavioral changes is the main thing, and that helps them to survive in the climate. By this, they can survive. So, now how they can survive, in what way they are going to survive in different climate. Now, the animals adapt there in many ways. So, one is their body function. Their body function undergo physical changes by shape and color of their body. So, some of the animal, they can change their shape of the body as well as color of the body based on their environmental condition, and then they undergo changes in the way of their body function. They can change the way of their body function. If the animals are living in extreme cold, they want to bear the cold, and then in extreme dry condition or hot condition, so they want to withstand the heat. So, in this cases, the animal itself change their body function to adopt the climate. And next one, they develop changes. They develop changes of their behavior. They develop the changes, the behavior, the structural and the behavioral change only is the main thing for the adaptation. So, they can change their behavior of the animals. And one of the thing of adaptation is migration. So, you know that migration, the birds and animals, the birds and animals can migrate in a group from one place to other. Understand? So, one of the thing is migration. So, what is that migration? Migration is the seasonal activity. So, they can only a particular season. If the season is very hot, they cannot able to survive. So, or the climate is unfavorable for the animals or bird, they can move in a group like this, and they can move to the favorable place for their survival or for their food as well as for the environment. Now, the one of the adaptation is migration. So, the migration is the seasonal activity. The seasonal activity seen in birds and animals. So, only it is a seasonal activity only. Only they can move only during a particular season only. When the season, if the season is not favorable, they cannot able to tolerate, in that case they can migrate. So, one of the cases, the seasonal activity of, and then it involves the mass movement of the birds, and they cannot move separately. The mass movement, the number of millions or thousands of birds and animals can, hundreds of birds and animals can move, and the mass movement of the animal to avoid the unfavorable, what is that? To avoid the unfavorable condition in their natural habitat. So, where they are living, they have unfavorable condition, so that they cannot able to tolerate in that they are moving. So, the mass movement of animals and birds, and in what for they are moving, they are for searching food, and the warmer climate, and as well as the climate, understand. So, this is the one of the cause they are moving. So, the migration is a seasonal activity only, and these birds, and if they once they are going for the favorable, they are not staying in the same habitat, again they are going to return to their original habitat when the condition is favor. So, by this is one of the, so that we call the migration is a seasonal activity only for a certain season. If the condition is unfavorable, during that time only the animals or birds can migrate like that. So, in a group of animals and birds can migrate. So, one of the adaptation of plants and animals and birds are migration. And next one, and how the animals can adapt in the extreme hot climate. So, in the desert, very hot, extreme hot, and how the camel can adopt the extreme, but it is not migrating for the unfavorable condition. The camel is not migrate for the unfavorable condition. Still the worst climate it can survive. How it can survive? Because the camel can live. The camel can live without water and food for about 3 months. 3 months he cannot able to take any water and food to adopt in the desert climate. So, by the camel is not having the seasonal activity like what? Migration, but it can adopt the worst climate by without taking food and water for 3 months. And the hump in the camel can store fat. What you people are thinking, children, you are thinking that the hump of in the camel, the hump has water, is stored water, so that water is taking. Not water, it store fat. What it store in the hump? Fat. And this fat is used for the metabolized for energy, because the main source of energy. So, the fat is the main source of energy for the metabolism of our body. So, it store, the camel can store the fat in the hump. That fat can be utilized if it is not takes during the 3 months, or it can without water and food. And next, so it is also mammal. And the healthy camel body temperature, the body temperature can be fluctuate. The body temperature can be fluctuate between 34 degrees Celsius to 41 degrees Celsius. so that the camel can conserve water by not sweating. So that more than that, but the environmental climate in the desert, the temperature is more than 41 or nearly 50 degrees Celsius, but the camel body can fluctuate what temperature 34 to 41 degrees Celsius, so that what it reduce the sweating. So by avoiding that not sweating, so to conserve the water, not sweating the environmental temperature. So even though whatever the high temperature in the desert, the camel body can maintain the body temperature about what 34 to 41 degree, so that what it avoid, so the sweating, so it conserve the water, the loss of water by sweating. And next one, and the camel have the nostrils open and close. So we have the nostrils are open only because they are living in the desert. If the wind blows or a windstorm comes, what happen? The sand can be carried away. So to protect them, so the nostrils have opening. See now the close and opening lid like this. And the eyelids of the camel. The eyelids of the camels also very long. The eyelids also camel is very long to protect them from the sand, as well as the nostrils. Nostrils have opening and closing, so that it can protect the respiratory tract. It protect the respiratory tract from blowing sand. And next, the camel has a long leg. So usually the animals living in the desert area, they all have long legs because they want to protect the heat from the land heat, the land surface heat. For that, so the long leg also protect them from the heat. And the flat foot, by the flat foot it can walk easily in the sand surface without sinking. So if we are walking in the sand surface in the beach, what happen? Our foot will sink into the sand, but the camel foot cannot sink because it has large and flat, so that it can walk freely, it can walk easily. So that the camel also called what? The ship of the desert. So in this, by this the camel can adopt extreme hot and dry climate of desert. And next we are going to see one more animal that living in the forest desert area is kangaroo rat. The kangaroo rat has a large hind feet like kangaroo. The large hind feet keep them sinking into sand. So the back limbs, see the back limbs are very large, so that it will stand, it sink into the sand, so that it can able to walk freely. And then they themselves protecting. How they are going to? The kangaroo rat make a big burrow to protect themselves from the hot climate. What it make? It make a big burrow and live during the daytime. And in night time, the kangaroo rat is going to active. They are inactive during the daytime to avoid the extreme hot climate. So they are sleeping during the daytime and they are active in the night time. So that they are called nocturnal animal. So that the kangaroo rat is called what? Nocturnal animal. Why it is called nocturnal? They are active during the night time. They are inactive in daytime because to adapt, so to protect themselves from the hot and dry climate. And in that in the night time only they are searching for they are going for the food and water. And the weather also cool during the night time. So the kangaroo rat is one of the animal can live in the extreme hot and dry weather. And next we are going to learn about how the animal can adopt the extreme cold climate. The extreme, one of the animal in the cold climate, the polar bear. The polar regions are extreme cold and snow cover area. So how the polar bear can withstand the extreme cold snow cover area without migration. So these animals are not migrating even though the condition is unfavorable. They are living or they are adopting the extreme climate. Now see that how the polar bear can adopt the extreme cold climate. They have white fur. So everywhere the surface is going to be snow covered only. So the white fur is helpful, not visible. Help them not visible in the snow, so that helps in catching the prey. So they want to catch the prey. If they find the animal is coming, means the enemy will run. So that it is white in color. So everywhere white, the predator is not able to see that. So it can be easily catch its prey, and as well as it protect the fur, the thick fur coat. The thick fur coat can be protect them easily. So the polar bear has two different coat, two different layer of coat. The upper coat of the fur have some waxy substance, because the wax does not stick into water. So by this they can protect from the snowfall. And next one, on the skin, they have the layer of fat under the skin, the thick layer of fat under the skin. So the fat is act as a thermostat. So it won't allow the body temperature to out, or it won't allow outside body temperature or outside temperature into the body. So the fat, a thick, all the polar bear have a thick layer of fat under the skin, so that protect them. So the fat is act as a thermostat, so that protect them from the extreme cold. And next they all have large, and the paws were large. The paws were large. See that the paws were large, so that they can walk easily. They can walk as well as swim. For the large paws helps them. See the flat large paws help them to walk fast on the snow as well as without slipping, and they can easily swim in the water. And they all have the strong sense of smell, because some of them are inside they want to prey from inside the snow. So from the smell, by the smell they can get the prey, the food for the animal. So in this way the polar bear can live in the extreme climate. And next we are going to see that next animal. Next one type of adaptation is camouflage. One is camouflage. In this, what is this? The animals are going to match. The animals are matches the surroundings by protecting themselves or by adopting themselves. So why they want to match with the surroundings? Because of their, because in that in the habitat there are large number of or the group of animals and birds will there, for they have to share the food because of the competition of that food. So they have some animals of what? They adopt themselves to eat the food which eaten by no other animals. So what they prey the food, that should not be shared to that other animal. For that they are protecting them and they are changing the body to the surroundings. And how they are going to change? They are going to, some animals they have changed certain shape and color matches well with the surroundings. Now you can see, for example, the leaf insects. This is leaf insects. So it's like a leaf. We cannot able to identify the differentiate from the leaf. And the stick insect, you can see the stick, the body is also made of stick like structure, so that in this no one can identify the insects present in that, so that they can easily catch the food easily. And next one, the chameleon, they change the color of the surroundings. You can see the what is the background, it become red, means it changes its color into red, like that, to get the prey. So these are all why they want to change the, or why they want to change the shape or color to the surroundings to get the food easily, because the enemy, they should not easily identify them. The enemy, they should not easily identify them. Because of that, they are changing or they are adopting this type of structure or color body. So these are all about the various, how the animals and birds can adopt themselves from the various climate, the extreme climate, extreme hot and dry climate, as well as extreme cold climate. Thank you.